Good morning, family. Welcome to Morning Devotion Light. Today's Saturday, September 23rd, first day of autumn. Let's greet our Heavenly Parent and true parents. Chanjin, Champumanamge, Kyungbae. Hado. Now for our family pledge, let's welcome Pastor Milhan Stevens.
가정맹세 1. 자녀국 주인 우리 가정은 참사랑을 중심하고 번향 땅을 찾아 번연의 창조의 상인 지상 천국과 천상 천국을 창건할 것을 맹세하나이다. 2. 자녀국 주인 우리 가정은 참사랑을 중심하고 하늘 부모님과 장부모님을 모시어 전주의 대표적 가정이 되며 중심적 가정이 되어 가정에서는 효자, 국가에서는 중심, 세계에서는 성인, 전주에서는 성자의 가정의 도리를 완성할 것을 맹세하나이다.
Bless you.
Yeah. 3. 자녀국 주인 우리 가정은 참사랑을 중심하고 4대 심정권과 3대 왕권과 황족권을 완성할 것을 맹세하나이다. 4. 자녀국 주인 우리 가정은 참사랑을 중심하고 하늘 부모님의 창조 이상인 천주대 가족을 형성하여 자유와 평화와 통일과 행복의 세계를 완성할 것을 맹세하나이다. 5. 자녀국 주인 우리 가정은 참사랑을 중심하고 매일 주체적 천상세계와 대상적 지상세계의 통일을 향해 전진적 발전을 촉진화할 것을 맹세하나이다. 6. 자녀국 주인 우리 가정은 참사랑을 중심하고 하늘 부모님과 장부모님의 대신 가정으로서 천운을 움직이는 가정이 되어 하늘의 축복을 주변에 연결시키는 가정을 완성할 것을 맹세하나이다. 7. 자녀국 주인 우리 가정은 참사랑을 중심하고 본연의 혈통과 연결된 위하는 생활을 통하여 심정문화 세계를 완성할 것을 맹세하나이다. 8. 자녀국 주인 우리 가정은 참사랑을 중심하고 자녀국 시대를 맞이하여 절대 신앙, 절대 사랑, 절대 복종으로 신인의 일체 이상을 이루어 지상 천국과 천상 천국의 해방권과 석방권을 완성할 것을 맹세하나이다.
Thank you, Pastor Milhan. Now for our opening prayer, I'd like to invite Pastor Reverend Joshua. Reverend Joshua, could you please pray for us today?
Sure. Please join me in prayer. Loving parents, spirits of divine and crowns of heaven and earth, mankind. Good morning. Thankful that we have this time today that we can gather together Saturday morning. Pray that we can really be able to attend you and greet you this morning, be able to wake up in our right minds, be able to receive your guidance for this day and moving forward as well. I pray for those who are still on this call that we can also be able to connect with you well, be able to really honor you this day. So I thank you as continue to be able to receive this message, be able to carry it. And yeah, thank you. And I close this prayer in the name of Joshua Gutaski, the Gutaski listener family, and everyone gathered here.
Got you. Thank you, Reverend Josh. Okay, family, let's take a few moments to share our gratitudes, and we'll be back in 5 minutes. Welcome back, everybody. I hope you had a good sharing. Mimi-san, would you like to share? You and Henry, would you like to share today?
Sure. I really am grateful meeting with the brothers and sisters, and really I told today, and especially I could meet true parent and heavenly parent when I was a teenager, and I'm so grateful.
Yeah, I'm grateful. I have a wife which love her eternity. Actually, eternity is very important, precious, incredible thing. Actually, you just said that I love you until the end of life, but we love you for eternity. Oh, that's why this was given by true parents. This was an eternal gift, and also brother sister also love you eternity. It's incredible also. Yeah, I dreamed Mr. Kamiyama. Today I had dream.
Wow.
I told him that you are me and before the leader and member, but now has to be brother and sister. I told him sorry to Mr. Kamiyama. So spiritual, even the leader members here, but the spiritual brother sister, all has to be equal to love. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, it'd be nice if Mr. Kamiyama could help with this Japanese situation. You know, all the Japanese members in the spiritual world, there's many. I'm sure they're very concerned about Japan, as we are. So thank you both. God bless you. Okay, brothers and sisters, it's time for our Godable reading. We're reading from True Mother's memoir, The Mother of Peace. Pastor Milham.
Thank you, Kathleen. Thank you, Yukawa family. Let's go into it right now.
Welcome to Mother of Peace, and God shall wipe away all tears from their eyes. A memoir by Hak Jahan Moon, a production of the Washington Times Global Media Group, narrated by Allison Hiroto. July 20th, 1984 is a day I wish I could erase from history. On that day, my husband left our home and was incarcerated in Danbury Prison. As we departed at 10 that evening, he gave words of hope and encouragement to our members who had gathered at Belvedere. With several members, we drove to the prison. I was resolved not to reveal my emotions. Father Moon had asked the members to dispel their anger and sadness. "Do not cry for me," he told them. "Pray for America." A feeling of deep darkness descended as we watched Father Moon enter the prison. We stood for a long time at the entrance, as if my husband might just turn around and come back out. With a sigh, I consoled everyone, and we turned and walked away. My husband was embarking upon an unfair prison term in a foreign land, and I knew that I had to forgive the people who had put him there. It was our opportunity to practice our movement's most fundamental ethic: love your enemies and live for their sake. Sacrificing oneself, even in the face of death, and going even further to forgive and love those who accuse and deceive, is what we came to call the Danbury Spirit. The Danbury Spirit is to give and give, even after everything has been taken away, to forgive those involved, then to persevere, knowing something greater is bound to occur in accord with the heavenly will. The road was dark on our nighttime journey home. My experiences during the more than 10 years of living in the United States had been more numerous than the pebbles along a riverbank. There were the speaking tours in which we had traversed the continent. There were the path-breaking conferences that reshaped the world of scientists, professors, theologians, and clergy. There was the youth with boundless energy welcoming new life in God's love. That road had been strenuous but incredibly rewarding, and in that light, my husband's imprisonment was a painful pill to swallow, a heavy cross to bear. As a wife, I was also dealing with personal pain. My husband was nearing 65 years of age and facing prison life by himself in the United States, barely knowing the English language, would not be easy. It had not been so long since I had given birth to our 14th child. I had been with my husband every time he appeared in a courtroom, before a congressional panel, or speaking to our members. And now this. It was very hard on my mind and body. Amid all this, I had to fill the leadership vacuum created by his absence. My husband knew my thoughts and focused himself, and me, and our movement on the way forward. The first thing the next morning, there he was, on the phone. "Share these words with the members," he told me. "Ignite the signal fire for Christianity according to the call of God." I shared his words with our leaders and members. Energized by my husband, I knew what we had to do. "Now God has given us our next opportunity," I told them. "We must achieve what we are called to do on the foundation of all we have accomplished so far. Through constructive activity and sincere spiritual conditions, God's heart will be moved. Our sincere devotion will bring Satan to surrender. Now is the time. History will record this as the welcoming of a new age." There is a saying that, when it rains, it pours. And indeed, on my path forward, almost before I could catch my breath, I ran headlong into another unexpected misfortune. A core leader of our movement, who had pioneered the principle in America and who had actively defended my husband and me in the United States, suddenly went missing. We soon learned that Dr. Bohi Pak had been kidnapped and was locked up in a cellar somewhere in New York City. His captors declared themselves ready to kill him. We had been exposing communist subversion through the news world and the Washington Times, and demolishing Marxist ideological claims before tens of thousands of American clergy through CAUSA. Communists were enraged that the religious freedom of the United States had allowed our movement such influence. Lacking the police apparatus they would have had in North Korea, one leftist cell's ability to act against us was limited. But now, considering us vulnerable with the absence of Father Moon, they resorted to violent criminality and kidnapped Dr. Pak. With my husband in prison, I had to solve the problem. The first thing I did was earnestly pray that the saintly man who had been abducted would hear my voice. Then I phoned United States Senator Orrin Hatch. Senator Hatch was a warm-hearted and fair-minded man who had spoken out on our behalf during the congressional hearings. "This abduction is not based on personal resentment, nor is it for money," I informed him. "It is an attack on a man who is unmasking their wickedness through the media and through education." Senator Hatch responded that he would ask the FBI to investigate immediately. Lawyers and my trusted advisors told me that the FBI opening an investigation would increase the likelihood of violence on the part of the kidnappers, and that it would be better to negotiate. I could not agree, and I continued my desperate prayer. As Dr. Pak shared with us later, his circumstances soon worsened. The kidnappers beat him severely and applied electric shocks. He lost consciousness and fell onto a cold basement floor. At that time, he heard a voice. "There is not much time, but they will not harm you further today. You will preserve your life if you escape within 12 hours. You can do it. Use whatever means are available." Dr. Pak heard my prayers in a dream. He regained consciousness and determined to escape. Using wisdom, Dr. Pak got his kidnappers to relax the conditions of his captivity and managed to escape. The next day he returned home. I met him soon after that, and he gave me a full account of what had happened. The voice of true mother, which I heard in the darkness, sounded like the voice and revelation of God. Your words awakened me suddenly and gave me the wisdom and power to outwit my captors. As such events unfolded, a very difficult time turned into a time in which I was full of vigor. My desire to impart merciful love only deepened. Each day was rich with emotions, including cherished moments in which my husband shared with me his affection. At the start of each day, after he finished praying at 5 a.m., he would call me from a prison payphone and greet me with, "My beloved mother." I was permitted to visit him at the prison every other day. I would be driven there in a convertible, and when the weather permitted, I would put the top down as we ascended the final hill on the prison grounds. Rain or shine, my husband always came out and waited for our arrival. With a longing heart, I would smile brightly and wave from the car. Sometimes he would look totally worn out, having just finished mopping a floor or washing dishes. What wife would feel comfortable seeing her husband like that? But I would suppress my sorrow and hug him with a bright smile. I often brought our 2-year-old daughter, Jongjin, for he would be so happy to receive and embrace her. When our brief meetings ended, my husband would send us off. As we drove back down the hill, worried tears would start to fall from my eyes. Wishing not to turn my face toward him and expose my weeping, I would just keep my face forward while waving goodbye. I knew that my husband would remain in place, his eyes fixed upon me, a prayer in his heart, waving silently until we were out of sight. For the 13 months of Father Moon's imprisonment, I was coping with feelings of sorrow and injustice, but my responsibility to lead our church and the providence came first. I felt responsible for inspiring our members around the world while maintaining a firm axis with my husband, around which they would revolve, unwavering in their life of faith. With God's intervention, we actually enjoyed a sense of stability. When my husband was imprisoned, media professionals around the world gossiped and cynically predicted that the Unification Church would disappear. Some members of the media seemed to be anxiously waiting for that to happen, hoping to proclaim happily, "We told you so." The Unification Church is an empty shell, cracking like an egg with nothing inside. Its so-called believers are heading for the hills. That did not happen. Quite the opposite. The number of our members and allies only increased. People understood that the U.S. government had sent Father Moon to serve an unjust prison sentence for the crime of dedicating his life for the salvation of humanity. In their innermost hearts, all people cherish religious freedom.
Thank you for listening to Godable. Visit Mother of Peace.
Thanking God and your parents for these words today. Wow, what an incredible movie scene. This, I'm telling you, there will be dramas and TV and movies made about your parents' life. In fact, there was someone tried to publish a book surrounding this particular issue or time in our church. Not a member, but someone outside. And I think they were able to publish it in Korea, but they didn't make it to the US or in English. I think we kind of I remember reading the manuscript for it, and a few of us were asked to read it and just give our feedback, and I was like, yeah, that's interesting. But anyway, it didn't get passed anyway. But yes, our true mother stood very strong. And the theme for me is our true mother is a fantastic leader. She is an excellent leader. She's praying. She is, calling people, tugging on our network to help us. I'm really impressed with Mother and her leadership. So looking at the highlights, Father was telling members, do not cry for me, told them, pray for America. This Danbury spirit we're talking about forgiveness. We're talking about what Jesus had to face when he went to the cross. Of course, his heart was, don't let this happen. Right? Of course, Father doesn't want this to happen because now America has this great debt to pay. And America will be cursed because of this imprisonment. So he's asking, please, let America not fall because of this. He did not care one bit about his own life or his ability to travel around the world. That's not it. It's the sake of America, this blessed nation. Even Mother, she had to forgive the people who had put him there. So this was her cross as well. As much as she'd like to just remove this from her mind, she has to also forgive. I wanted to highlight here that where she says, it had not been so long since I had given birth to our 14th child. And I had to fill the leadership vacuum created by True Father's absence. I mean, I can't imagine just giving birth. I mean, that's time where the mother really needs to receive a lot of love. It's a time where, there's a lot of without that love, there's postpartum depression. And it's just really hard. A lot of draining. It's like, no, you have no strength. I mean, after a 14th child, my goodness, come on, seriously. And then Father getting thrown in prison. I mean, the stress could kill somebody. But thank goodness Mother has a connection to God where she can, continue forward, not just survive, but lead. Through constructive activity and sincere spiritual conditions, God's heart will be moved. So you have to have that level of vision and understanding before, if she was to survive the situation. Dr. Pak heard my prayers in a dream. I remember last time I talked about this, it was specifically this is why we need to pray, because Mother's praying for us. Mother cares about us. She put her essence into these Chuncheon ones so that we can receive guidance, receive direction directly from heaven. And so Dr. Pak, fortunately, sought heaven's guidance. You have people in the past have, when you have these critical moments, these forks in the road where one decision will just have enormous consequences, that's when you need to pray. You have to stop and pray sincerely. Study the word, get into that frame of mind, and you got to focus. You can't focus on your peril. You can't focus on your situation. You have to go to heaven. And thank goodness that he did that. Otherwise, he wouldn't have survived. And he was clear. The voice, Mother, it was your voice. I heard. Thank you. I think this is our situation today. We are in a tough situation right now. So we need to pray. We got to get on our knees and pray for clear guidance. Because a very difficult time turned into a time in which I was full of vigor. So as challenging as these times may seem, or they are, it's the time where we can wake up. And my sermon this Sunday might be along these lines of how bad does the world need to get before we wake up? Before we wake up, or before the world wakes up and realizes that true parents are here. And when that happens, we will be completely alive. My responsibility to lead our church in the providence came first. And we actually enjoyed a sense of stability. It's kind of like I attribute this stability to True Mother's leadership, quite simply. I mean, Father wasn't here to create stability. Father was here to plant seeds and beat Satan. Like that's what Father came for. But Mother is the one who creates stability and order in the household. So this is the result of True Mother's leadership. No question about that. And it's really hard to attack True Mother. All of our opposition, they're like, they can say whatever they want, but none of their predictions came true. The number of our members and allies only increased. Now, I know some of our allies weren't as supportive as maybe we'd like them to be, but that's up to us. And I know that with Mother at the leadership helm, the best chance we have to propagate anything good in this world. So, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Pastor Milhouse. Honestly, I wish we could listen to you for much longer. We only have 1 hour, but I just wish we could have another hour just hearing your reflections. So thank you.
All right. Well, maybe I'll start a podcast and just talk and blabber for an hour if you want.
Okay, good.
My disciples know I can do that easily.
Sure. All right, brothers and sisters, let's take a few minutes to share our reflections, and we'll be back soon. Welcome back, everybody. Hope you had a good sharing. Ray Beth, would you like to share with us today? If you're there. Thank you. Maybe she's not there.
Well, she was there, but she didn't. I was with her in a group, but with Juanita, but she didn't turn on her whatever. Yeah.
All right. John Watson, please share with us.
All right. So I mentioned a few different things while we were doing our sharing. So that Danbury time I was on MFT in Texas. So I was out on the street every day selling stuff to people. But I do remember that mother was coming out from the shadow a little bit more because, you know, usually father would be speaking at Belvedere, mother would be sitting in the chair. But after that, during that time, mother would speak at Belvedere. And it was a suffering time on MFT. And we used to talk about the Danbury course a lot on MFT. It's like, well, one example was we always had the tradition set by Mr. Kamiyama that God's Day we would celebrate for 3 days. You know, we worked hard every day, but we would take 3 days for God's Day. During Danbury, they said, no, we're going out fundraising on God's Day. So we didn't do 3-day celebration. We did a little bit part day, but I was out on the flower stand in the freezing rain. So we took our little Danbury indemnity too. So, and it's not easy to have a member of your family incarcerated. I've been through it. So that's it.
Thank you, John. Thank you for such a beautiful background. Wow, thank you.
Come to Connecticut.
Yeah. Do we have any prayer requests today?
I already mentioned to you Brian Saunders. Yeah. If you could pray for him, that's the second conductor of the choir. This is his birthday today. And then also I would like you to pray for Thomas and Alice Boutte, who are visiting with us right now. And they're a historical couple, 74 couple. And anyway, it's maybe the last time for Thomas to be visiting us because he's kind of frail. But anyway, he comes from a very famous ancestry. His ancestor was Jean Lafitte. Jean Lafitte is a pirate from New Orleans, but he's basically, history doesn't really credit him, but he's really a key person in saving the United States at that time, where the British were really wanting to finally take one more last time, try to take the United States over. But he was working together with the people there, and even though he was a pirate, he was a really key person. And some people call him, he saved America in 1812.
Wow.
Jean Lafitte, you can pray for him. He should be liberated and blessed. Anyway, look him up, and it's L.A. Jean, then Lafitte.
I didn't learn about him in school. It's all about George Washington. And let's remember to pray for our, True Mother's safe arrival to America next month, which is coming up. In the prayer points that we were sent. Well, if there are any other prayer requests, then brothers and sisters, let's begin our 7 minutes unison prayer. Shi Jacques.
Good morning, Heavenly Parent. Good morning to parents. Heavenly Parent,
Thank you very much for this
for
amazing
that
opportunity
true mother.
to share with
Pray for
Juanita
true mother,
and
son.
also share with Michelle, Father, and for praying for
We are celebrating
Thomas
the blessing
and
of
Alice
birth.
this time.
Pray for two children,
For brothers and sisters
parents, for all
and this room
and all
here, Father. Brian Saunders also on his birthday. It was a very difficult. Pray, Father,
pray,
for
Heavenly
all
Parent,
of us, especially to
We'll
Mother
keep
at
them
this
right and
time.
well-being.
those in the
Those in
young and
2025,
Points, Father, for
Jesus,
to
for
Mother's
Reverend
visit.
Duncan's leadership
them
and also to
Pray,
Mother,
Father, for
Mother's banking
pray for
and
all brothers and
America,
sisters at
for
this time. You and the
minds of government,
family. Pray for the reunification of
brothers and sisters all over in this
Heavenly
difficult
Parent,
time, especially to Japan.
for
Japan
Father,
Church
that
our brothers and
your will can be
Japan
done.
go through so much worse.
The way of Yankee Stadium
Foundation of
got in
America,
the
the New
way
York
of
Hotel in
opening
Washington,
up and
And for
handing it over like
rebuilt
we've done so
during
many times
here in
before.
America, Heavenly Parent,
In
legal
Beartown,
case,
Father.
Cable,
That you can
young
work your will, Father, nevertheless, no
Family
matter
Federation
what.
USA and 21
life,
County
Father,
State
pray
Unity,
for
fulfilling our role,
Joshua
elders of the
Gutowski.
nation,
For,
families,
thank you
Reverend
for his
Joshua,
incredible
Divine
support for
leadership,
meal hunts,
gathering
Father. It's
yesterday.
such a,
Reverend
as Kathleen said, we do him all
And
day
Rhoda,
long, Father,
family, we pray
and
King,
sharing
for
food
all our brothers
because he has so much
pray
depth and wisdom,
that
Father.
clearly,
To have the really
they are united.
the fortunes of Korea, Japan, the United States all
pray
rolled
that
into
we
one
can go
person.
forth in the shoes of
Pray,
Mother.
Father, for Kathleen.
They're
They
not just
Blessing, Father, for her to
significant
a
pawns
spouse
in
that
this area.
someday that
pray,
love her,
Heavenly
can love
Parent,
her, that can really go beyond
that we
Father
can
to
bring the
fall
victory,
and be a
we can
brother
Like to
to
hope
her, first of all,
forward in the name
take care of her, Father,
of Heavenly Parent and
win
on
her
the
heart,
living
wake
Father,
up
and
the sleeping giant,
establish a
and
foundation for
missionary
faith
girl that
ancestry
across
we
to
America,
be
were
liberated
to
missionary.
in
rise
every
up and
way
see what it
possible. We're
is
praying for Thomas
Pray,
Paulie,
Heavenly
Father, Jack
Parent,
Paulie, his brother, such an
pray
important
for
family,
our
Father,
brothers and
a
sisters
to
master's
the
family
tribe of
also that
science, West
Jack
Chains,
pray
Thomas
for
was taking care of his
such not true
community,
parents,
Father. Pray for
who
Jean Gomez,
them
for John
walk in
Wasson, Father, for his
pray for all
family.
our brothers and
He
science,
shared his heart this morning
for those going
about incarceration, Father.
beacons of hope for
His
anyone who
sacrifice on
has
MFT
eyes to see,
and
that
working with
ears to
Mr.
hear.
Kamiyama.
we can bring
Father,
the victory
please in the rain day when
to
Texas out
America,
and the flowers
that
set on the
America
first of
will
the
hear
year,
that
Father.
world is
Pray, Father,
pray
for
for
him.
that divine
His heart can be
The day
healed,
that
nation
they
Father, and
overcome
they
COVID
really know how
can bring the
precious he
blessing
is,
closer.
Father. They
help them
should
The
attend,
divine
Father.
son and daughter
Yeah, the apples, Father,
carry
Johnny Appleseed,
Reverend Douglas.
be
cannot
liberated. Johnny Appleseed be
They're all
liberated, Father,
to the free
blessed.
world. We pray for them
Pray,
that
Father, for all these amazing Americans,
leaders
Father,
to
the
the
good, the
free
bad, and
world.
the
Help
ugly,
them
Father.
Lord, to
Many
fulfill
of
their
them
purpose and
amazing abilities, Father.
that America
Like
can stand up
Thomas's father
against
was
the
able to
world,
work
that
in the most
America can
extreme heat
stand
and
up
not be
against
harmed by it, Father.
in the body.
Like,
We pray for the
one of those
leaders
criminals who died,
at
Father,
the
pray for
UN.
some Marguerite. Pray, Father, for the sisters
New York,
who are going to go to Las Vegas, Father.
and anyone who has a chance
There's enough money, Father, for
to
many
Brother,
people from our area
be
here,
safe.
Father, to
that
go.
help
To Mother, she's speaking on the 7th and 8th to talk to the
pray
pray for the
Heavenly
Anyone
stewards.
whose academies
Have a very
that we can
difficult
love each other,
situation.
help each other.
Pray for the Mays,
Pray
on the
Heavenly Parent that
roads,
we can
Thomas and Minnesota Lutz, Father, for the
we can bring the
hospital.
victory
Also,
here in America,
the
that America is safe, that the
journey
world
And
to
is
Edna
free.
and
unity,
Pray
Jude,
Heavenly Parent
Father.
that
protect the city,
All the
world,
brothers and sisters came to
and
visit here
everybody in
those
the
days, Father, three times.
we pray
Pray
Heavenly
for
Parent that
the Recalvers, maybe
love
we can fulfill,
Henry, Father, so
we can
grateful
bring the
Christ.
victory
for their sharing.
to save
And
America,
Henry's
save
dream
America,
of
that
Kamiyama
the
Are
world
we
is
really
coming now?
helped,
help
Father,
us
with
Heavenly Parent love each other, help each other, help
15,
each
their
other.
in
gifts,
Japan. I pray, Father, for
So the
victory in the
brothers and
UCI
sisters
case,
stand, but
Father,
pray for
for
brothers and
Washington
sisters,
Times,
Reverend Michael
Father, case, or the reality, Father,
pray
Washington
for
Post,
Jenny
actual
and
reality. The New
the
Yorker, Father,
come up.
that yes,
I pray for Coda.
they're difficult times. Doesn't have to be
relation
a
to two
defeat
parents
for
while
the
they're
victory,
here on this
Father.
earth.
We can't just have a
We
victory
pray
this
that
time.
this
Entering on True Mother's
court
leadership,
meeting
Father, I
cannot
pray for
work
Tesla,
that there be
Nikolai Tesla in the spirit world, that he can also help, Father, to bring this about, Father. I pray that we can keep going, Father, with all of us sisters, to pray for the Mayo family,
people
Greens
whose
especially, the
offerings
Satos,
made them a good
Buddhists,
they will be honored.
Rico Son's family, Calvo, the
But I
Valentine
pray that
family,
they can back away
Fuller family,
the decision to dissolve
Miles
the
family,
court,
Pastor Miles
dissolve
here. Pray,
the
Father, for
unification church,
the Latino community,
supported their government related
Allison and the Owls, the
50
Masakos
years
Owl and her husband,
or for 50
Allison
years
and
since
his,
to
Father, for her successful with her husband and their son.
away from the
Father, we have groups, Father, all around the world, everybody. Father, I pray that you can, going forward today, just today, going forward today,
God
one
bless
day at
the
a
world.
time, with a meeting with Paul and Annie Barris and Danny this morning, with a contemplative prayer. Pray for that to be a success for the.
Thank you, everyone, for your prayers. Do we have any announcements?
I'd like to make an update. It's not necessarily something that you need to pray about, but it's up to you. But I've been having discussions with President Alkimi, President Matsuda, and regarding my employment at headquarters, and I've been seeking. And I've been in a very, very perplexing situation for the last few weeks. Everyone need to know, and some of you know, I've been, and so there's a bit of a breakthrough yesterday, where I was on a walk with President Alkimi during the break at the Belvedere event, and by the end, he's offering to, pay my severance from headquarters so I can focus on New York alone. So, if Damien and Tremother are okay with that, then I'd be able to focus as a pastor in New York full time. Of course, I'd have 3 months to figure out my salary, but I think Syke and I can figure things out. I don't need a lot of money. I just need focus and clarity. So, anyway, it's up to us. If you really want me to be a pastor here, we have to work together, figure things out. But I am committed to restoring the city. I think you know that. And it was amazing what we can do, even I was only part-time with this. But if I'm full-time with this, I think we can do some serious good. So that's my little update. Again, it's not confirmed yet, but I'm really hoping that can be the outcome.
I don't understand. I don't understand. You haven't been our pastor. You've only been our
No. You guys don't know, but I get a lot of pressure for YSP from headquarters. I tell people, like, I'm still giving sermons. I'm like, I'm running a church over here, but people see me as, vice president and I have all kinds of distractions. So to be able to say I'm only pastoring in New York, that's a very different, also in terms of my commitment is very different too. I can start programs and initiatives that I know I can complete because I'm not going to be whisked away in a year. Does that make sense? Like, I'm not the kind of guy who starts a bunch of programs and disappears. I refuse to do that. I refuse to invest in the youth. just to find out that I'm going to be whisked away in a year. Like if you want to traumatize a young person, you become this great role model in their life and then disappear. Like that's that's how you break hearts. And I refuse to do that. That's why I didn't really invest in the blessing until the third year. I don't know. I'm not sure if this all makes sense to you, but there's a I haven't been playing my full game, let's just say, because I didn't want to break hearts if I had to be taken away. But I feel like I have enough tenure where I can say I want to do this, and I can say no to whatever other ideas other people have. So every time I look at Emika, okay, you guys know, maybe some of you know this, but that girl was born because of this revelation of me settling down in New York. And whenever I look at her, I'm like, I'm not going to give up. You know, I'm going to settle down, and we're going to create a model community right here in New York City. And nothing's going to stop me. So anyway, it's an interesting time. Okay. It's like, am I rebelling against true mother? Like, no, I'm not. People know I'm not. I love mother to death. That's why I'm in New York, because it's the only thing that we can do is restore an actual city. We could talk about it all day long, but until we make a model community, there's no power in our national movement. Look, I would love, yeah, sure, I could serve the nation, but I just don't feel called to be in the meetings, and I don't know, and travel the country. Like my heart is here. So, you know, and Reverend Dunkley, you know, he respects me. He listens to, you know, I gave the opening prayer last night. And Reverend Dunkley came to me and he said, "Mohan, thank you for your prayer." In fact, he used some of my points in my prayer to kind of spur the spirit in the room. And people have been saying, "Mohan, you look so great. Like, you look good." Like, because I feel good. I'm good. Because I have a very clear mission, you know. I'm doing great. And I hope everyone can find their mission as well, you know. Even when I looked at, you know, they're talking about the UCI case, and you know, they have this picture of H1 like kicking a guy, one of the leaders in Brazil, when he was trying to coerce them to join their team. All I saw, okay, if I'm being honest with you, all I saw was a guy who found a mission, but then he stole True Parents' assets. He made I'm like, why? Why would you steal from True Parents? Start your own thing, man. Like, look, if you're so great, then start your own church, you know, and we'll help you, we'll support you. But instead, he just steals, and just totally. Can you believe it? There was an airplane, okay, a private jet that Japan donated as a gift to True Parents, and then he just sells it. Like, it's just some kind of asset management, you know. It's like, I'm sorry, how is God going to bless the person who's completely disrespecting True Parents' foundation? But I don't blame him either, because we didn't do our tribe messiahship. So what happens? Satan gets to invade the True Family. We learned from Reverend Kachi, gave that presentation to IPEC for those who were there. But in any case, I tribe messiahship, actually witnessing, you know, that is the greatest protection for mother right now. And I'm not confused at all. And that's why we're focusing in New York. And now Kimmy, he gets it. He told me, Mohan, you know, yes, the Chunshin one, yes, you know, all these things that we're doing, but the model community is still the front line of the province. And I was like, wow, I felt so relieved. Like, okay, because it's not easy when you have, you know, international on your back. Like, expecting results for YSP, you know. Anyway, I trust you all. You know, I trust the people who are here every day. Because people, you can have good intentions, but are you really here? Like, do you really believe in this? Because I'm talking about like a 7-year plan. I'm talking like, I'm gonna go long term with y'all. So, but I feel it. I mean, you guys, because of you all, I know that we can do something here. So I thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, you make the community that I want to be a part of. And we can do so much good. You know, I brought my kids to, you know, a couple of days ago, there was Apostle Ramos and I, you know, well, she ran a community event at the local precinct. And I brought my kids. And all these people, they love my kids. Oh, look at these little Asian kids. I want to get them in the photos. Okay, they're trying to take all these pictures of my kids. They're almost like let me out of it. You know, like, but I worked hard for those kids. I love those kids. I take care of them. I play with them. And they love me. And that's a lot of hard work too. You know, it's not just like, oh, you can't take that for granted, you know? So all of us have our part to play in the blessing culture. And they see it, and they need it. It's like when Pastor Gill came to our church, he tweeted one thing. And anyone remember what he tweeted? Japanese choir. Yeah, Dr. Young there. I preached. We had lunch afterwards with the Green family. He tweeted one thing. Japanese choir. And he said, I'm in Midtown with the Japanese missionaries. They need our diversity. They need our deep level of faith and commitment and action. The city needs us. Okay, they need our help. You know, why am I praying for Mayor Adams every day? Because he needs my prayer. Like he needs us to prepare the offering table so he can make his offering. The Pastor Gill can make his offering. The Pastor Ramos, so all the pastors in New York City can make their offering in the Chuncheon one. And wow, like it's, I'm telling you, I just needed the independence to do it. So it's exciting times. Everyone's asking me, oh, Melon, how are you doing? How are you doing? Everyone's trying to talk to me. I'm like, I'm excited. Because I just got all these chessboards. And I mean, Reverend Juanita, I have 11 chessboards now. So I'm gonna this Harlem Center is gonna be lined up with chessboards and kids in here. I'm telling you, and they're gonna be feeling God's love. I'm excited.
You're doing a great job, Milhan. New York is clean. I was coming in last night at 2 or 3 o'clock. That place is clean. Nobody's laying around. They have young police officers. You're doing it. You got the foundation. We're cleaning up New York. It might not look like it, but you're cleaning up New York. Believe it.
No, they are young police officers. They're very young.
Young police officers. Young.
They're like carp. They're just carp kids.
I know. They look like they fresh out of high school. They so
they need
cute.
Our prayer.
So polite. So you doing it. Our young people doing it. Believe me, you cleaning up New York. Mayor Adams is doing a good job, whether people want to say it or not.
Oh, I love him so much. Yeah.
I just want to hug him sometime. And what can I do? You know?
Exactly. That's how I feel too.
What can I do? So I just, but keep your thoughts, and you all keep supporting, young man. Keep your thoughts, keep your heart. Because all the way in Philadelphia, we can feel it. Can feel it.
Pastor
Reverend got an award yesterday. So congratulations to you for your work. I mean, many years in Philadelphia, and Mama Gail, I'm sure. Yeah, it's very hopeful.
She loves you. She told me tell you hi.
That's like I barely know her. That's great. I love it.
And I'm really grateful that you're so invested in helping brothers and sisters to get matched and blessed. That your
Yeah.
heart, because for my sake, I'm really grateful.
Yeah. And
So
prayers.
after you get matched, we're gonna be the matching church.
Yeah.
People would go to church to find their spouse in the past, right? You want to find a good man, a good woman, right? Nowadays they're going to the bar.
Yeah.
Wow, we don't have much competition. We can totally destroy that competition.
Sure.
We become the place where people feel, okay, I like Milhan's family. I like these people that he's matching and blessing. Okay, maybe I'll have some hope by coming here. Even if they're like, even if like they don't get the principle, even if they're still struggling with all that, but they have to admit that there's something holy going on here. And they're gonna have to figure it out.
Even my brother, even one of my brothers who's not with in our church or anything, said to me the other day, there's only two places that you can meet someone, in a grocery store or church. I'm thinking, yeah, in our church. No bars or clubs.
I feel
Or
bad
dating
for all those people trying to find their mate in a bar. Oh, goodness.
So that's what I really appreciate about you, that your heart is so invested in the blessing culture. And the third milestone is wanting to help brothers and sisters get matched and blessed, which is the purpose for true parents on the earth, is the blessing. That's what it's all about, giving the blessing. So
and that's your power. All of you, not just me, but all of you have that power to help people get matched.
Amen.
You can be responsible for the smile on Reverend Josh's face.
Yeah.
Okay. There's no greater blessing and joy than that. But it's a long journey. You have to be committed. It's not something that happens overnight. And like, Father did overnight, but Father didn't just match people overnight. He invested in all of us for decades on that foundation, that trust and love. And then you can match and bless people.
Yeah, to see Reverend Josh's commitment ceremony was like one of the happiest experiences I've ever seen in my life in the church. Just brought everybody so much joy. To see this beautiful young couple so happy, just can't get any better than that.
I'm telling you, it's not rocket science, folks. That is, yeah, that's it.
So that's why we have to, you have to stay here. Can't go anywhere, Reverend.
Oh no, I'm not. You guys don't know what it takes for me to stay here, and that's okay, because I'm not going anywhere.
Good.
I'm not going
anywhere. Good. So thank you very much, everybody. Would anybody else want to share anything before we go? We have a little time because it's Saturday.
Yeah, that's why I'm talking so much.
One thing I just say is that we're going to get into schools. We're going to get into schools, Milhan. We have a dynamic program to get into the schools that she started in Philadelphia. So it's gonna work. Home away from home. Yeah, in the schools. So I think here in New York, we really need it.
Yeah, we're not going anywhere. My kid, Ayumi got student of the week.
Oh.
She was so excited to tell me while I was driving yesterday. I was like, I missed my turn, because she was trying to show me her little award thing, a little picture of her in the newspaper, little school paper.
How cute.
Wow, that's wonderful.
And the soccer coach, he called me and said, your son is like really talented. I want him in my club.
Wow.
They're again, that's an investment, right?
Yeah.
I invest in my kids, and then I use them to do God's will. I mean,
yeah,
it's all good.
Yeah.
I'm so happy for Hiroki. Oh, that's wonderful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Our true father invested in soccer in Brazil. Our true father invested a lot in soccer.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wish I did more soccer growing up. I was always basketball.
You know, Pastor Milhan, they're asking for people under 40, young people under 40 to come to Las Vegas to meet True Mother.
Oh, yeah.
So I hope some of our young people will be able to go, you know, like maybe you.
But yeah, we're going. My whole family is planning to go actually.
Good.
Trying to dig up those miles that we accumulated. It's
Yeah.
also over Columbus Day weekend. Interestingly enough, so for Saika, that was like a sign that we should go because they
Yeah.
won't have school on Monday and you can just
I
recover.
hope Reverend Josh can go too.
I will be.
Good.
Yes.
Got my tickets, so.
And then Akio can come from Washington.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, we don't have a lot of well, I think that's great that you're both going. I think it's wonderful.
Yeah, I was a part of the planning in those meetings,
Mm.
and it's looking pretty good. I think it'd be very meaningful for everyone who attends.
For sure. Well, thank you so much, everybody. Today's the first day of autumn.
Yes. Yes. The
So,
leaves are falling.
Hope you all have a wonderful day. I don't even want to say goodbye.
Thank you.
Have a beautiful
care.
Saturday.
Thank you.
God bless you.
Bye.
Beautiful day. Bye.